Aquarius full moon today, August the 9th. Let's talk about it. This full moon is opposing Mercury in Leo and trining Mars in Libra. I like Aquarius. I like all the signs. I like Aquarius because Aquarius asks us to take a bird's eye view of things. Take a step back, out from our own subjective lenses, interpretations, passions, feelings, being symbolized by Leo, our personal spark, and look at things collectively in the context of a group, in the context of a community, and look at how all the parts of that community are made up and how they function. It's very anthropological, which is really cool to me, probably because I have Saturn in the first house. Might be biased. Saturn is the ruler of Aquarius. And so Saturn asks us to think and meditate objectively on the data of the emotions, of the mind, and of the senses. Instead of getting stuck with a particular thought, a particular story, and entrenched in a mental structure or a mental paradigm, to let the thought come one ear, out the other. Not in a bad way, but just observe it. Saturn is the observer and asks us to not become attached to our thoughts. In fact, asks us to detach from them so we can have a more objective perspective of what is going on. Love that. And thus we can become more like the water bearer, right? If you look at the imagery of the water bearer, it is a picture of a woman, or I guess it depends where you look, but I know it as a woman pouring water out from two jugs. And I guess that's a star. Whatever. The water bearer is a person having a jug of water and just pouring it out in front of them. And that's really telling to me because in astrological elemental theory, the water represents the emotions. The water element is emotions. And Saturn here, I think, is asking us, instead of, notice the imagery is not this person thrashing around and trying to swim in this water, but taking an objective distance away and pouring it out in front of themselves and observing the water. So we observe the emotions and we don't let them consume us and sweep us away in the emotion ocean. And I think that is very valuable in many situations. I say this as a watery person. We have to learn how to swim, right? And if we don't learn how to swim, we'll drown. We'll always be taking things, way, way personally, not being able to find an objective distance away. That's no fun, right? So Aquarius asks us to get out of our own feelings. And I also want to state that, Aquarius being very analytical and scientific and empirical wants to, label and categorize things. It can very much be a scientist. It's very inventive, really unorthodox. So mad scientist vibes, for sure. But we don't want to become a cold, unfeeling robot, because Saturn, the ruler of Aquarius, being a malefic, is extremely cold and dry, being an air sign. So we run this risk of completely detaching from our humanity and kind of coming out like the Terminator. and just, you know, really thinking that the human experience is nothing more than just some chemical reactions and synapses firing and electrical impulses sent from the brain. Like the whole like cynical, another thing that Saturn could make us do, become cynical. Skeptical is good, but cynical, you have a bad time, I think. And the whole cynical, like, oh, love is nothing but, a chemical reaction of the brain. Come on. It's much more than that. And I think Aquarius here simply is asking us, hey, make room for objective data analysis and realize that being a human is such a beautiful, unique experience. And when we come together as a community of human beings, we can synergistically create things and manifest things that are greater than the sum of their parts if we work together, right? So don't fall into that cynicism and skepticism. And this moon is asking us, hey, what are our entrenched mental structures and subconscious programming around what it means to be analytical and observant? What it means to be a member of a community, and realizing that, not everything revolves around us, and others have feelings as well, and also to not try to label everything and compartmentalize it and put it in a box to make it more easily digestible for us. And opposing Mercury retrograde in Leo, I think that there will probably be some talking about it, right? We'll sit down, have a conversation about it, maybe in a group setting, because Aquarius. And we would be looking at our interpretations of what it means to be part of a community, a synergistic gathering that is greater than some of their parts. Trining Mars in Libra. Mars isn't comfortable in Libra, so asking us to understand, like, hey, again, we know we want to individuate and cut away and make our own path, but what does it also mean to make room for meeting in the middle and making sure the scales are as balanced as possible and coming together as people who maybe not necessarily love each other, but respect one another and respect each other's feelings and understandings. And you might not have to agree, but I think the trine from Mars and Libra will help us remember that love and harmony is a beautiful thing. So hopefully we can move past our skepticism and our cynicism to find a common ground. Happy Aquarius full moon. Love ya.